I've just had a very, very special experience here at E3. I think it's the first time ever I've played a game in a wheelchair. And it's not just that I was sitting in a wheelchair, I was actually in a wheelchair inside the demo. This is a lot of news to me to digest. Starbreeze is doing Star VR, a new VR helmet. You're doing Walking Dead, sort of a VR demo, sort of prologue thing to the bigger Overkill's The Walking Dead. There's a lot of things going on here. Can you just give us the lay of the land?
All right, so thanks for having me, first of all, Bengthen. It's awesome to be here. So what we got here is that this Saturday we announced two things. One, we announced, other than the paid stuff we're doing, we announced Star VR. So we're making our own virtual reality headset, our own technology, everything, the hardware, we got it. We're making it ourselves. And two, we're making a demo, or we've made a demo of Overkill's The Walking Dead, a VR experience demo that is playable here at E3 that you got to try out. And I think, first of all, it's important to make sure for all the fans out there of both The Walking Dead and the payday stuff that we've done before, that these are actually two different games. I mean, first you have the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC Steam version of the game. Then you actually have this demo, this virtual reality experience that we're also making. So they're actually separate games that we're making. Reason being that, you know, the traditional, if we can call it traditional, kind of co-op FPS that we want to make might not fit perfectly for VR at this time. However, we still want to commit to VR and make something really cool there. And that was the experience that you got to try out, the what should we call it, the rail shooter, Virtua Cop kind of House of Dead experience. Yeah.
Wheelchair shooter.
Yeah, the wheelchair shooter, yeah, precis, the wheelchair 'em up. Yeah, so I think it's awesome. The first time I tried it, one of the other game developers took my leg just
They did that to me as well.
Yeah, I got so scared when that happened, yeah. So it's crazy, and I think, why are we going into the VR race, right? I've received this question before, and it's because it's just started. It's not done yet, you know. We haven't seen if there's going to be a single winner, you know, of all the VR helmets out there, or if there's going to be an open market where people are going to buy their own stuff and everyone's going to be happy about it or whatever. And we just had a great opportunity and the right kind of people on board to make this a reality. And who doesn't want to make their own virtual reality? At least for me, having tried several other virtual reality headsets, I personally feel that virtual reality for gaming is the future of gaming. It's an amazing experience, especially with our headset. Usually you have, with other virtual reality headsets, you have 100 degrees that you see, but with ours it opens up to 210 degrees, right? Because of the lens and how we've built it. And 210 degrees, that's like almost all of your peripheral vision. And what that means is that you can see so much more and you get so much more immersed into the world you're in. And what that means is that suddenly, you know, everything around you is perceived differently, and I think it covers like 75% of your actual human vision that you can see. So it's, yeah, it's crazy.
It had that sort of sense of being in a fishbowl, if you will, that you had that sort of sense rather than perhaps the more sort of front directional.
Yeah. Like a horse, right, with the blinders. And I think that's more natural, because when you look forward, you actually see what's happening on the sides, and that's the same thing that happens when you try on our helmet as well.
And I can imagine that is also sort of opening up new avenues when you are designing a game with that in mind, that you can sort of use that in a lot of different ways by giving things happening here that, especially if you're trying to scare someone, that is, I can imagine that is pretty good.
Yeah, and we have one of those scares in this demo where we try to do exactly that. And the cool thing is that it's too early to say, you know, what the benefits of having such a great, you know, such a big peripheral vision is. Because, yeah, we haven't been making VR for that long time. I mean, virtual reality has been around for a long time. I mean, even since the 80s, right? But right now, the technology is there. The public support is there, you know, people are excited about VR, and that just makes this the perfect opportunity to collide with something like this. And that's why, you know, that's why we're here doing this. And so far, so good. People seem to be enjoying themselves. Yeah, I've seen some people jumping in their seats, you know, being really scared, trying to kick the walkers when they try to crawl up their legs and so on.
Yeah, it's that phantom pain thing, because you're severed, your leg is severed, so you look down at your leg and that's got a little bit of...
So real short, the demo is about you being a surgeon, right? And you've just had to cut off your legs because you got bitten, and somehow miraculously you've survived. And what you got with you is 2 other survivors, a woman and a man. And the man wants to leave you behind. He can't be carrying you around. You're dead weight to him. The woman wants to save you. She doesn't want to leave you behind. And the thing you got going for you is that you have car keys to a workable car, a car that can get you the hell out of there. And I won't spoil the demo for people out there, but let's say there's some twists and turns, and it ends pretty horrendously. Yeah.
Pretty predictable in a Walking Dead fashion.
In a classic Walking Dead fashion, and that's also what's so cool with this demo is that with such a even though it's a relatively short demo, it tells a complete A to B story about exactly what you'd experience in the Walking Dead universe. This is exactly what the Walking Dead is about, and I think it's that a part of that, happening is us having such an awesome relationship with Robert Kirkman and the folks at Skybound. There's no middle management there. We're working directly with them as partners, making sure this becomes one of the best possible games it can be, right? Both the VR experience as well as the original game. Yeah.
So I know it's early days. Like Saturday, you announced it. You're not sort of aiming to be that first wave of VR with this, but what's the sort of What's the idea here? Are you gonna go into sort of publishing and becoming a hardware manufacturer? What is that? Is that the idea? Do you want to get developers on board with this technology? What's ahead for that?
Yeah, long term and as soon as we possibly can. Of course, Starbreeze aims. We've already announced Starbreeze as a publisher before, having Raid World War II being developed currently by the Croatian studio Lion Game Lion, and that's a co-op FPS set in World War II, right? So we're supporting those guys with that, publishing that game, and this is definitely our way of saying we're heading into VR publishing as well, right? Because VR is so new. There's so many people out there trying to get into that market and to establish themselves as VR developers, and we're really interested and curious into seeing who tries it out, who wants to make the future of VR happen, and we want to be at the forefront of that, helping people out, making sure we get some quality VR stuff going forward.
Sometime in the future, but yeah. Where do you feel like if we look at this, you're not launching this now. There are some headsets that are going to launch early next year, maybe even late this year, if keep to the schedule. But what do you feel it is that those are lacking to sort of take it to the sort of where VR needs to be to sort of really revolutionize things?
That's a good question. I think it's too early to say. I think in 2 years' time we know more about how the market looks and what twists and turns everyone wants taken. There are a few contenders out there now, which is great because I think competition is awesome for us as well as them, making sure that we provide the best experience for the consumers out there who want to try it out, and as well as all the players, because VR isn't necessarily all about games. We're focusing on that, but Starbreeze is more and more as a entertainment company than anything else, really, because we're making the classic video games and we're making the VR experiences now, and who knows where we'll be in 5 years.
Exciting, but I assume that this is just part of what you're doing with VR now. With Star VR, it's got to be a big focus for you moving forward, in addition to Payday and the co-op games that you sort of become known for. Yeah,
so exactly, you have a good point there, and it's important for us to announce that at the same time as we went live with the announcement of this, we're also opening up Starbreeze Paris in France, where we have our VR team working on this technology. And then, of course, we have our developers in Stockholm in Sweden. We have, our partners, Lion Game Lion, down in Croatia, working on their game, and we're also opening up a studio in Los Angeles. So it's very exciting times, for Starbreeze, and we have a lot of very competent developers. We just acquired a team of 20 or so veteran first-person shooter developers here in LA who have 100 years worth of experience among themselves within the games industry. So it's a really talented team that we've worked with for some time now, and that we're super confident are going to fit right into the Overkill spirit and the Starbreeze team that we already have.
Exciting times. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.